Hello everyone, it's Tana. Welcome back to the Rabbit Hole Designs YouTube channel. Today we have the newest release. I have here in my hands Clarence Coffee and Clarence Surfing. And then we have this gorgeous beach background. Now these images are by Dustin Pike. I believe I'm saying that correctly. I will put his Instagram handle down in the description box. I think Clarence is just adorable. I love him to death. Here we have the Nutty Layers stencil, and I also have the Love hot foil die to play with today. So I know most of you probably saw these 3 cards that I'm going to make here today on my Instagram already. I put them up there for the new release, but today we're going to see how I did them. And while you're watching me mask out these very many peanuts, don't worry, we skipped through that really quick. I'm going to read some of the sentiments. So on Clarence Surfing, he has a sentiment that says, "Surfing by to say hi." And I love his surfboard. I didn't show it in this video, but in the first card, I actually cover the entire surfboard with glossy accents, so it looks like it's wet. He also comes with his own little wave. And then on Clarence Coffee, we have Decaf. Are you nuts? Which I think is also hilarious. Rise and Grind. Hashtag pro-caffeinated. And nothing funny about an empty cup. Oh look, coffee. Whenever I see that sentiment, I think squirrel. You know, distracted like a squirrel, which is me a lot. So that is a sentiment that I use today when I use Mr. Clarence Coffee here, because it's my favorite. And then it also comes with 2 little peanuts. So the whole basis for this first card here was that I wanted him to need his cup of coffee, not decaf, after he gathered all his nuts for the winter. So then we have that very large pile of nuts. So the nuts and him are the focus of this card, and we're just going to put in a very easy, simple background when we get to this one. For the beach card, I'm going to show you here the order that I layered it to do the masking. So I laid the beach background out first because it's going to be in the back. Then I laid out the additional wave that he comes with because I wanted that one in the foreground before all the other waves in the beach background. And then I put him on the very top because he's going to be the first thing stamped and masked. So here you're just going to see the order that I stamped and then masked them. For the beach background stamp set, we have "The best wave of your life is still out there." Life is like riding a wave. To keep your balance, you must keep moving. You can't stop the waves, but you can learn to surf. And this one also comes with 2 seagulls, which I think are totally adorable and goofy looking. Perfect to go with Clarence. So we're going to use my zigs today, which I have not used in quite some time. So this whole background, image, card front, take your pick, was stamped out on Bristol so that I could move my zig color around more easily. And I'm not going to show you coloring every little thing. So here I'm showing you what I use for the palm trees. And I believe I used green and light green, even though I did not put those on the screen for you. And then deep brown and regular brown. I'm now using wine red for the dark areas of the surfboard and then regular red to fill it in. And I'm just using a tiny paintbrush with the tiniest bit of water. You don't want to use too much water on the Bristol because it will start to pill, but also using less water allows you to go back in and add more color or a different color or a blend of colors. You know, if you don't like what you originally put down, which is what ends up happening with part of the ocean. So I started out with the colors I put up there on the screen for the back of the ocean. And I wanted the front to look more like, you know, those days on the beach where sometimes the water can look crystal blue when you're looking at, you know, the horizon line. But as it comes closer to you, the waves look like sea green. So that's what I was aiming for here. But I thought there was too much of a difference between the green in the waves and the more turquoise teal blue in the background. So I tried to add more of that green in and add a little bit more water to it. So I'm glad that I used a very tiny paintbrush and not a lot of water when I first laid the color down. I also use a white gel pen, a Pear Blossom Press white gel pen that came in a pack of 3 colors, to add some accent to, or foam to, my waves to make them look frothy. Say that word 3 times. Frothy. And I think it turned out really good. You guys will see that in the final pictures. So I started to color the sky with my zigs, watercolor the sky, and I did not like it at all. I just didn't like it. So I stopped what I was doing. I fussy cut my entire ocean, Clarence, island and palm trees in the background, separated it from the sky, and decided to ink blend my sky. So I pulled out the negative pieces from the Clouds of My Coffee stencil and put those on there, and then used a mix of 3 distress oxides, Mermaid, Lagoon, Salty Ocean, and Peacock feathers. I brought the Peacock feathers up from the bottom so that it would blend better with the ocean laying on top of it. And then I popped my image, my scene, up on foam tape and added that on top of the cloud background. And I also popped up the seagulls. So I really do like the way this cloud card turned out. I did not want to ruin the scene on the front with a sentiment, so I put the sentiment on the inside of the card. Moving on to the second card here, our Clarence with a big huge pile of nuts. I trimmed the panel down because I colored his scarf blue, and I really liked using that bright deep blue in with those neutral colors, the gray and the browns. So I knew I wanted to use a blue matte behind the panel. So I'm using here, I believe it's a boy and the Clouds in the Coffee stencil to just put some clouds down in the background. You can use your masks to get down in there behind your images. I didn't. Those new bitty blending brushes are very tiny, so it was easy enough to just kind of ink blend around the images. And then I drew in some grass with my Micron pen and colored it in with 2 different colors of green. I really don't remember what greens I used, but I know one was a green and one was a yellow green. And then I took a piece of bright blue cardstock from my stash, 100-pound cardstock, and used double-sided adhesive to stick it to a black card base, and then used more foam tape to pop up my panel on the blue mat. And then I used, oh look, coffee. Now I had stamped that out with both white embossing powder on a black card or sentiment strip, and then I also used some of the blue that I used as a matte, but the black looked much better than the blue sentiment strip. So now we're going to use the stencil. I really think this stencil is adorable, and I wanted to do different colors. I didn't want to do fall colors, so I decided to go with purple and teal. So rather than do all of the nuts one color, I decided to alternate, kind of like a checkerboard, and went down the whole stencil. I did take it off in between colors, clean it off, and then place it back on. I mean, it was easy enough to line it up. And then I went back in with deeper versions of each color. The names are on the screen for you guys. And did the second layer of the stencil. So I believe it's Royal Treatment for the purple and All That Jazz for the teal. And I can't tell you guys how much I'm loving those tiny blending brushes. It makes more intricate and tiny things so much easier. So now I knew I wanted to use the hot foil die. I wanted to give it a try here. So I actually hot foiled it 3 different times. 1 with a teal and 2 with like a silver holographic, but they each had like a different pattern on them. I did end up going with the teal. The die and the shadow die will work with the hot foil die. I used my love die to cut out my hot foiled word. And I also cut out a white shadow for the word, but I ended up ink blending it with some pixie dust to match the purple and teal theme. And then I used my Nouveau Deluxe adhesive to adhere the foiled word onto the ink blended shadow. And I have this circle I cut out with a scallop circle die from my stash. It is actually an alcohol blended panel that I've had for a very long time in my stash of alcohol blended panels, and I thought it would look perfect. It looked like water to me. So he's kind of surfing on love with an ocean in the background. I made sure I colored his surfboard to match and popped it up on foam tape, and that's it, guys. I hope you liked all the cards that we made here today. Don't forget to check out the Rabbit Hole Designs on Instagram, along with all the brand ambassadors, so you can see tons of inspiration for this month's release. And don't forget about the Rabbit Hole Designs email, where you can sign up for the word on new releases and tons more inspiration. And we will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye for now, guys.